Welcome back, everyone. This is Cody Hart for Government Accountability. It's Tuesday, July 12th. I have had a pretty interesting day. A few things have happened that I want to share with people. First, you might have noticed I posted the full length of the Skagit County logic and accuracy test for the Skagit County election. It's a very long video. It's about an hour long. And I decided out of that, there was something that really stood out, and it was this interaction that a few of us had. It was started through some questions I had about the transfer of data from the tabulating and counting equipment. And I wanted to make sure I pointed it out in a much shorter video, which this is the intent of this video. I want people to watch this and think for yourself if you agree with me and some of the others who express concern about what we were hearing. And I will tell you, I am very concerned about it. I have found a lot of holes in this election system in Washington State. I think this is another massive one that Skagit County has, and just process. And I imagine this is going on throughout the state because Washington State has one of the least secure election systems in the entire United States of America, and this is more video evidence of it. And everyone should just really think about that. The hole in the system that we exposed during this part of the video, and with the inability to check and the lack of verification on what's going on with the hardware in the election system, should really concern everybody. So I want you to watch it. I want you to hear it firsthand for yourself, and then decide for yourself if we really are being lied to by our state, the state of Washington. We are not being served by them. They do not seem to care about secure elections, and it looks like we're going to go into 2022 with all sorts of problems and a lot of doubt about our election system. So watch it and tell me what you think.
I'll take a second. And then we'll actually write this data. So at this point, kind of back to your question about what stages we're in. So at this point, we just leave it this. We could write it to the V drive, which it's this little drive that looks like a flash drive, but it's actually an encrypted drive that only works with the HART systems. You can't stick it in your computer, it will do nothing. But we can write the data to those drives. Usually we do that maybe the day or so before election day, just because it takes time for it to put thousands of ballots onto that drive, and then it just sits there until election night. Nothing is going to happen to anything here. On election night, we'll actually take this and move it over here, run our zero report, and then put it in and run our tabulation, which is what we're going to do here in just a second.
So those drives, just from a physical security standpoint, how many of them are there, and are there extras?
Everything we have is right here. I'd have to count them just because I don't know what they are off the top of my head. We have a little dish that has them all the ones we have in it.
Okay, are they allowed to leave this room after the election starts?
Nope.
Okay.
They don't. They go nowhere. They work nowhere but in these machines.
Okay, and is there a review process, either Secretary of State or the county, to confirm what's on those drives before the election starts?
Well, no, not in the way you're asking. However, if I were to take any of these drives that we used in the last election and put them in here, they would not work because the election does not match.
And that's a different question. So
when we create an election, it has an election ID that it belongs to, which means if we try scanning any ballots from another election, we try using any other B drives from another election, it's going to say you can't do this because this is not the right election. You absolutely can't.
And that's a different question that I'm asking. So Secretary of State or Skagit County, is anyone verifying what's on those drives before this election starts to confirm there's no data on them?
There is not a way to do so. We cannot view the information on those drives. We have no access to it.
Okay.
They are encrypted.
And then but at some point they'll be put over, and then whatever's on them will be counted.
Yes.
Okay.
The one thing we can do is we can read it to let us know what election it's for. So if we make one for this election,
I understand.
or we put it into read, but we can't actually view the data on that.
Man, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? Oh.
Go ahead.
Well, okay. So say I brought a laptop, I brought it in here, and I stuck one of those drives in there, would I see any files, or would they just be encrypted files? I would see there's an encrypted file that you can't open.
You can't. You can't do any. You go in here and they're just literally made for moving the data, and that's the only
No,
thing
I
you can do
mean,
with them.
okay, so a hard drive, it's going to have data. The question is, like, what's the file types? Can you open it with? Every file has, it's going to have a size of the file. It's going to have a checksum. You can like click on. If I stole that and I put it in a laptop, I personally would be able to see how big the file is, what the type of file it is. I'm not going to be able to read it, but it would show me the encrypted. It would show me the data before it.
You can verify if there's something
I
on
would
it.
see the encrypted data. I wouldn't
You
see
see
the
that there is data.
Yeah.
and then it's encrypted, and I can't.
There is
make
not
it.
a way to see that on these drives.
Okay.
I have no way of seeing that on these drives.
No, I mean I have a way.
Okay, you
Yeah.
can't touch these drives, so I
Yeah.
No, legally I'm not allowed to. I'm saying, but if I put it into a computer,
You would have to ask Hart. As far as I am aware, we cannot put these in a flash drive. You cannot, or not into a computer. They will not work in a computer. You cannot view any data on there. I have never tried it because I'm not gonna take something like that and stick it into, my networked drive or anything like that,
Yeah.
because that's not what they're made for.
And Secretary of State's office, do you have any comments on this? Because this is, as a participant in this election, this is a point of concern, not knowing what's on those at this time. These will be used in this election. And
Yeah, it's part of the security procedure for the tabulation equipment specifically.
yeah, for no one to be able to verify what's on them. You understand the concern, right? That's all I can do is convey the concern.
No. I'm asking you, like, I'm saying, like, there are no processes that they are in violation of. There's no rules that they are walking around or anything like that. Not every system has that. The USB drive and the 2 keys and all that. So I can't really speak to what the proprietary system is, like, as far as maybe there's something that should be on there. How would like I'm saying, like programming, because I don't know, because again, it's counties have the option of picking one of 3 tabulation systems, and I don't know like all of the ins and
Okay,
outs.
so the question I would pose, and I would ask if the Secretary of State's office can respond to, is if a county election office cannot verify what is on the hardware before it is tabulated, how is there any concern from Secretary of State's office?
Right. I don't recall that Gabe said that it wasn't that she couldn't. It's just that in the function of utilizing.
Or you're right, I misspoke. It's so nobody is verifying it before the election, what's on there, before tabulations start.
It is my understanding that the employed staff at Skagit County who are familiar with their own systems would recognize, would know, and whatever function that is, because again, I don't know the ins and outs of every system, but she would be able to either notice that something is not the way it's supposed to be. And I don't recall giving you consent for my filming, so I don't know if you can just kind of, as far as the process, yeah, thanks. But Washington has a 2-party consent for filming and photo taking.
Yeah, there's a video surveillance right there. Yeah,
This is a different thing.
it's not a. Yeah, no, I don't think you understand that law very well.
Okay, cool. Well,
But-
anyway, still, it's kind of a respect thing. Next time, just ask somebody before taking them. That's all. But anyway, to get back to the question, again, it's my understanding through the course of utilizing the item that it would show that, hey, there's something already on here, like I said, or the process may be that there needs to be something on there because it may program. So as far as a written process within WAC or RCW requiring the county to say, hey, there was nothing on this, because the systems are all different, we don't have a standard for that. So if there is like an internal process, again, I don't know that, you'd have to ask Gabe, saying, hey, there's nothing on this, or this is how we've confirmed, that would be on the county individually. But to the best of my knowledge, there isn't a statewide standard of, hey, show me a log of your, clean.
Yeah, the clean data. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, you've answered my question very thoroughly.
great.
Isn't that why we run the zero report? To show there's nothing on the drive?
In effect, that's the same idea. We want to make sure that the software is all cleared out, because I think, as Gabe mentioned, and this is in general the same thing. Every tabulation software has, like, you can create an election, right? And the idea is we're making certain that there isn't something already scanned into that election space, or you drive, or data pack, or anything like that. When we go to start that, it's supposed to be a sterile, clean test, and so the zero report that Gabe has printed down, she's in the hand, is indicating that, which we all sat and watched her print. correct? And
At this time,
Yes,
right?
yes,
At this time.
correct. Because again, the after that's all done, this all gets locked up and won't be touched again until they start scanning ballots. The ballots start coming back. So so for instance, once the LNA task is completely over, they'll switch over to a different workspace program, whatever your system calls it, as far as your
Task?
yeah, whatever. The
Like
election-
from the test task to the official task? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
I didn't hear whatever else you're
No,
talking
you're
about.
cool. There's so many ways to kind of explain that.
Yeah.
But essentially, same kind of idea. We're running a zero to make sure there's like nothing in there, just
Right
down
now.
the system
Yeah.
or
That there's no votes in there.
there's nothing in there currently because nothing gets scanned or saved as Gabe was explaining. And we want to make sure that when we walk in here for this test today, there wasn't already something sitting on there.
My thought was whether there was files on them, not just whether there's
Files on the scan station.
on the USB drive.
Right. No, I know what you're asking. And so, again, it's a function of the test to figure it out, because if there were files or extra votes, because the idea is that we want to kind of,
You'd want to know. It's a what if because it's closed source software that's not available to be inspected. So we can watch the process, but we don't know how it determines how it's going to work.
okay.
And so in an open source software, you hand it to the world, and then they just hammer on it until they find the exploits.
Yeah.
With a closed source software, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, but as far as the cybersecurity posture of the state and counties, again, I would probably defer those types of specific questions. Like you're right.
I'm just trying to understand the
Right. No,
process.
you're just laying the field.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get that. Like, I'm right there with you. But
I'm just thinking how I would attack a system.
So and that's the thing. It's like we're always developing and enhancing our security tests. Elements of this logic and accuracy test has actually changed somewhat recently. As we make it more robust, we add more items within the matrix to say, okay, I really want to see more overvotes, because I actually want to see the overvotes tallied instead of just having the one. So it's, as we go forward, it's very possible that there could be a rule or a statute created that becomes open source or something like that. So it's not like a done deal. Like this is how it's going to be
Yeah,
forever.
you'd have to
It's
change
just-
it through law. Like the legislature would have to
No,
say,
yeah, that's what I'm
we
saying.
want to switch to open source software.
Indeed.
and
I guess I'm just letting you know that there is
Yeah.
potentially an open door for that at
Yeah.
some time. But as of right now, this is what we got.